What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. It's episode number 75 and it's transfer deadline day, and after the sales of Leno and Dolberg in January, we've raised our budget to over £100 million. We had so much cash to play with on deadline day. You know, recently I've been saying, should we save all this money and have a monster budget next season? But then I was thinking about our goals for this year. Now, we knocked out the Carabao Cup in the semi-finals. We were beaten by Manchester City. We won't be retaining that trophy, but the treble is still on. And if you want to win a treble, you got to be consistent. You need a squad of ridiculously good players, and you need a ridiculous amount of quality in depth as well. You need to know when you go outside your first 11, you go outside your bench, you still got boys that can step in, do the job, and be maybe not quite as good as your first team starters, but players that are good enough to step in and fill in those boots. So yeah, on deadline day, I thought there were two positions I had in mind. And after the sale of Dane, Eddie and Nketiah at 81 overall would now go onto our bench, but I wanted a new striker to replace Dolberg after his sale to Hertha Berlin. Now, there were loads of names on the shortlist. You had the likes of Jonathan David, Artur Cabral, Hlozek, who is so good in this year's FIFA Career Mode, but I thought about the type of squad we've been building here with Arsenal, and what's been the theme? Well, since the save began with both Burnley and now Arsenal, what did the Burnley board want? What did the Arsenal board want? One of the reasons they brought me here to the Emirates Stadium, developing that British core. And I think you know who I was going to go in for here on that list. DCL, moving on from Everton to Bayern Munich in the game. We agreed a £60 million deal with the Germans. And at 28 years old, he's the same age as Dolberg, but a rating higher. And I love the fact he's got one of my favourite traits in the game, the solid player trait. This guy knows his role in the team, and he comes in for £60 million. And I have to say, I'm buzzing with that. The same fee we got for Dolberg, the same fee we spend on Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a player that's the same age, but a rating higher, and of course fits that sort of philosophy of signing primarily British players as well. DCL had him in our Sheffield United career mode last year. He was so good, and now he's here at the Gunners, and I'm so delighted to bring this guy back to English football, and now here in North London. I gave him the complete mobile striker development plan as well. That will improve his skill moves too. It won't take him long to grow an extra rating as well. Only 8 weeks before he comes 86 overall, and he knows his role. Suarez will be the starter. He was the Golden Boot winner last year, but DCL off the bench, not a bad option to have at 85 overall. And one of the reasons why I opted for Calvert-Lewin as well is because I knew he wouldn't cost you an astronomical amount like some of the other targets I had on my shortlist would. And that meant we would still have around £50 million remaining in the budget and could possibly bring in another player on deadline day alongside him as well. And you would have seen this name on the shortlist too. Could I bring both of them in? Would I have the money to sign them both on deadline day? Well, as you'll see, we would. And I mean just. RB Leipzig agreed a £51 million deal for St. Maximin, the former Magpie, moving on to Germany. We want to bring him back to English football. He might not be British, but he spent quite a few good years at St. James's Park before moving on in the game. 28 years old now, just like DCL. 85 overall, just like DCL. Can play up top, but also on the flanks as well. And St. Maximin is in. I kind of like that as well, because as we know, in years gone by, Arsenal had a history of signing a lot of French players. And in this team, we still kind of have that as well. You know, Guendouzi and Camara, the holding midfielders, a couple of boys out of the academy, also French as well. And so Maximin coming in too, really happy. In fact, thinking about it, I think France is our second represented nationality in the team now. But anyway, so Maximin is in, and I'm buzzing with that. We had to spend every single penny, well, practically every single penny, with a tiny bit left over on bringing in DCL and ASM. I love the double-barreled surnames here. And for £111 million, you know, the sale of Leno, the sale of Dolberg, two really good bench players, but I've got to be honest here, I think we've done some tremendous business. We've improved our squad depth. Yes, you could say our backup goalkeeper now takes a step down, Aaron Ramsdale being second choice for Jan Oblak at 80 overall. But to be honest here, Ramsdale last season was part of our FA Cup winning squad. And whenever he did play, he was totally fine. So I'm fine with it. And again, bringing in DCL, I love the guy to pieces, and some Maximine as well. You got to love the business we did in the January transfer window. I have to say, full marks there. I think we did some tremendous business indeed. So that'll do it then. The January transfer window closes, and what a crazy deadline day. £111 million spent on our 2 new signings. And again, if we want to win the treble, we need the firepower. You know, sometimes our creativity and goal scoring can be lacking, and to bring in DCL and some Maximine to cover when our first team just aren't doing the job or when they're injured, yeah, I'm really, really happy. So as deadline day ends, we had an academy update here. Just to 3 players in our youth squad now. God, when was the last time we had so few players in our academy? I did decide to change the position of Santi Velasco. He has the highest potential, but is the lowest rated. However, I think that's due to his position right now. Attacking midfield is his primary position. We're going to flip that to striker, as he has 64 finishing, and I think that will see a big overall increase there as well. A look at the league table, 13 games to go. We are 10 points clear of our North London rival Spurs. However, we have been slipping up a little bit recently, so don't think the title is wrapped up and the engravers started putting the A and the R on the trophy. Absolutely not. A long way to go with 13 games remaining. And a look at our squad now as we head into the business end of the second half of the season. I've got to say again, this squad depth is literally unbelievable. Some great academy players in there as well, such as Marcel Lalong too. I'm really happy with how this Arsenal team has shaped up this season. Well, since we came here, really laying down the groundwork in Season 1, and then Season 2 really kicking on and developing, and now this year becoming a world-class team. Still look at our fixtures for February. As you can see, 4 games coming, 3 very favourable ones in the Premier League, plus RB Leipzig away in the first leg of our Champions League first knockout round in Germany. So St. Maximin returning home. Looking forward to that if you get some game time in that one. And also we had a draw for the FA Cup 5th round, the last 60. We've got Crystal Palace away at Selhurst Park. And as you'll see as well, there's not too many of the bigger teams remaining, and like I've talked about this before, it's very common in this year's FIFA CM that the lower league sides go quite far, and the big teams tend to get knocked out quite early. One of very few remaining. And I've got to say, we won it last year. We got a great chance to retain it this season. We might not get a domestic double like we got last season, but well, actually, there's still a chance we could do that with the Premier League and the FA Cup as well. It was a domestic cup double we won last year, but still. You might notice too, I'm going to change the position of Harvey Barnes. Now, it will take him about a calendar year to get that, which is kind of annoying because he spent, I think, more time playing in the new position he's going to learn as opposed to the position he currently is registered as, which is left wing. And obviously I know why that is. Like, EA with the position changes, as I mentioned before, you know, it is my favourite feature in the game now. I'm so happy they brought it in, but I think obviously they determine how long it will take for a player to gain a new position based on the range of attributes they have that would make them best suited for that position. But I do hope next year it becomes a little bit more in-depth because, as I've said, you know, we've been playing Barnes in attacking midfield most of the time since we signed him from Leicester at the start of last season. So you'd think probably he'd be able to learn it quicker as he's got match experience playing there, like it happens in FM. But maybe next year that'll be the change they make, and I hope they do as well, because I feel like the longer you play a player in that position, surely, again, because they've got experience there, the quicker it should take to learn it. And hopefully next year, again, EA do make that change, because I think will be really beneficial and a lot more realistic as well. And so for the first and only game of today's episode, the first one out of the transfer window, Norwich City, the Canaries, coming to take us on in North London. Took the lead very early on, right from kick-off. Tariq Lamptey's first year. I love those kick-off goals, but the visitors would find a leveller right before the break. And I was thinking, not again. How many slip-ups have we had since December, man? Seriously, this should be a banker. But in the second half, we really turned it on. Boubacar Kamara got his third of the year, making it 2-1, getting us back in front. 22 minutes to go. Reece Nelson bends in his 16th in the Premier League this year to make it 3-1. Give us a 2-goal cushion. And then I thought, okay, right, panic over now. We should be able to see this game out and not have another disappointing slip-up. We've had quite a few of them since December came round. And just a few minutes later, a chance to make it 4. And we do so through first goal for the club since coming in. Tyreek Mitchell, he's not had much game time because Kieran Tierney is the captain here, which means he's going to play the vast majority of our games, of course. So Mitchell struggled to get game time in this team. And again, because Tierney's stamina is just so ridiculously high, he rarely gets tired and therefore plays the majority of the midweek games as well. But Mitchell's first goal for the club is coming on the bench for Reece Nelson, makes it 4-1. and it really should have been 5 as well. Stoppage time, sorry, a minute to go, normal time, chance to make it 5, Bukayo Saka going through 1-on-1. Don't ask me how I messed up that finish so badly there. Should have been 5, was only 4, but it does not matter. A +3 goal win keeps us top of the table, 12 games to go, 10 points still to gap, top scorers in the league, joint best defenders, best goal difference record, and again, 10 wins in our remaining 12 will give us the Premier League title. Easier said than done, with a lot of fixtures to come. Now we're into the Champions League knockout stages and later stage of the FA Cup as well, but as things stand, we're still in pole position. But that was this episode of the Realistic CM, guys. So big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have enjoyed today's episode, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next episode of the Realistic CM featuring Leipzig away very soon.